minute in 34:92. And the first pair here, we have Ellen from Norway and Arisa Go from Japan. Okay. Was I on before? All right. So we have a great opener from both these two skaters. For Arisa Go, we have 18:31, and for Ellen, 19:61.
So for those watching and unfamiliar, the 1,000-meter race is going to be consisted of 2.5 laps, finishing at the 50-meter mark in the 100, as opposed to the 500-meter finish if you were watching the previous 500 races.
And we just have the bell lap, which means there's 1 lap to go. So Ellen hit a first lap of 28.22, and Ellen 29.98. So this last corner is always super difficult for these athletes. That's when you get the build up of the lactic in the legs, and you have to really push through.
And Ellen finishing in a final time 1:21.16, and Arisa finishing in a time of 1:16.66.
And now we have 2 national skaters. We have an Anastasia Busis from Team Crossover, which is based out of Calgary, a new professional team this year, and her coach Brock Myron. And on the outer lane, we have Naomi Fissette, who trains based out of Quebec City, and her coach in the backstretch behind her, Gregor. Both are sprinters. Naomi did pull her groin a little bit in warm-up this morning, so let's see how she can come through today in the 1,000-meter. Off to a great start.
Both ladies are looking very aggressive on the opener here. Really crucial, getting your speed up so that you can build as you go into your first lap.
So the opener for Busis, she takes this in 18:45, and Naomi is following in 18:52.
Skaters coming down the home stretch, hearing the bell, indicating 1 lap to go in this 1,000-meter race.
And the lap times are for Naomi 28:27, and for Anastasia 28:43. Strong lap times. Let's see how they both hold this going into the final turn.
And this is where the fight really kicks in, eh, Lauren, with this 1,000?
Oh, especially for the sprinters who are more towards the 500-meter specialists. We can see Anastasia really pushing through here, and Naomi swinging her arms to get to the finish line.
A very close race by these two ladies. Oh, very close.
Very
Anastasia
close.
finishing 1:17.59, and Naomi 1:17.68.
Good job, girls. Oh, and we have my teammate Isabel Weideman on the outer here. She had a fantastic season, placing 5th in the 5,000-meter at World Single Distance Championships in Kelowna, Russia this year. She is, let's see what she can do today for the 1,000-meter. She's racing Hanne Hagland from Norway, and she's on the inner.
So, Lauren, as a long-distance skater, how hard is a 1,000-meter sprint for someone who specializes in a 5K?
The hardest part is to stay calm. If you're a distance skater, it's really tempting to try and just go as fast as you can and speed up your foot speed. But really, as a distance skater, you need to optimize your power and maintain all that power in your stride. So you don't want to rush your stride. Oh, what happened here? I think
looks like something, a little bit of pain, and she's pulled up out of the race, leaving Isabel skating solo.
Hanne must have pulled a muscle or something. She did pull out of the race right after the opener. So we have Isabel, who's looking very smooth and using her full stride. Let's see this corner entry. Great corner entry, very relaxed.
And she's coming around the corner, again hearing the bell with 1 lap to go.
So this is definitely where being a distance athlete comes in as a strength. This last lap, Isabel hit 29:02. So that is an excellent lap time. And as a distance athlete, your competitive edge is not your first lap, but your second.
She looks like she's holding technique very well, which is crucial to maintaining efficiency in the stride. And here she comes around the last corner. Both arms swinging now, finishing
Great
quite strong,
finish.
yeah.
So her die was only 0.47. That's a very minimal die, and that's what we're going to see in the more all-round distance skaters in the 1,000 meter. Excellent race for Isabel.
All right, and now coming to the line, we have 2 members of Team Crossover, coached by Brock Mirren, Callie Kreis, and Kaylin Irving.
And that was also a PB for Isabel by point one. Off to a clean start. The 1,000 meter is a specialty for both these skaters. They have been racing with Team Crossover this year based in Calgary at the Olympic Oval.
Let me see the girls looking nice and strong coming to the opening here. First 200 meters underway.
And Kaylin takes the opener in 18:33, Callie Christ in 18:74.
It's going to be a very close race for these two, likely coming down to who can hold on to this second lap. Both girls are looking really strong coming around this corner, heading toward the bell lap with 1 to go.
Kaylin's really attacking that inner. Let's see what lap that was. It was 62. Great lap. Callie's first lap was a 28:10.
And here they go, coming down the back stretch.
Great push from these girls, bringing it into the finish. And for Kaylin, takes us in a 1:15.75. That might be a PB for her by 0.3. And for Callie, she did a 1:16. So on the inner lane, we have Mariam Labidi from Quebec. And from Norway, we have Martine Ripsrud, who made her debut on a couple of World Cups, I believe, this year.
And a strong opener from both athletes here coming into the first corner. This first corner in the 1,000 is often one of the hardest because you're still trying to pick up speed, and so technique is often difficult to hold coming from the gun so close, but they're doing a good job so far.
Martine's looking very good. That was a good opener for her. It was 18.65, and for Labadie, 20.01. Let's see what her first lap was. So for Martine, she did a 28.27, and for Labadie, 30.15.
Now, it's interesting. You tend to see pretty standard technique, but it looks like an interesting arm motion with the left hand here, but it seems to be working for her.
We can definitely see certain countries have similarities with technique, and they really focus on certain things. I would say her skating looks a lot like Hege Boko. I'm sure that they've trained together a lot in the past years. So overall, we have for Martine, 1:17.78, and for Labadie, 1:21.65.
So that was a PB for Martine by just over a second almost.
And on the inner lane, we have from Japan, Arisa. And unfortunately, Rike Jemsen has scratched from Norway, so she will be on her own on the inner.
So Arissa's going to be chasing down her PB of 1:19:08. How is it as a skater to skate by yourself in a race? Is that a pro or a con in most cases?
It's very challenging to skate on your own. It's always helpful seeing that shadow over your shoulder in the corner. Keeps you going, keeps adrenaline going. Ultimately, you want to be focused on your own race, whether you're racing alone or with a pair, but it's never a bad thing to have that extra push from your pair. What do you think, Hamish?
I agree. For me in my distance races, I always enjoy having someone to challenge myself with. Personally, I like to be in the chasing position toward the end of a race as it motivates you, gives you that extra little push. Although sometimes I do find that skating by yourself allows you to really focus on your own race and make sure you're hitting your technique strong.
Yeah, it's a definite fine line. I think in any situation, you just have to make the best out of it. If your pair scratches, you have to be mentally prepared for that and really focus in on what you want to work on for your race and really keep pushing yourself.
Well, she had a strong lap there, 29.31. We'll see how she does if she can hold it to go for that 1:19.
She's looking like she's more of a 500-meter specialist. This last corner is always very difficult for pure sprinters.
Here she is. She has both arms swinging, driving toward the line.
And she gets a 1:20.39, and her last lap was a 32.36. All right, we got one of my teammates on the inner lane. We got Maddie Pierman from Alberta, and on the outer lane we have Sophie Haugen.
Maddie Pierman comes from quite a line of family skaters from up in Pinoco. Her mom is a coach up there, and her sister also used to skate, and she has a younger sister that's also skating as well.
Maddie Pierman is training in my training group with Zuli Wang. You can see her on the backstretch cheering her on. Zuli Wang is an incredible coach and has such incredible technical expertise, and we can definitely see the improvements in Maddie's skating this year.
Well, both having really good openers here. It looks like this will be a good race for both pairs.
And we have Maddie opening 19:37 and Sophie opening 19:57.
So both girls' PBs are essentially right on the mark, 1:19.28 for Maddie and 1:19.27 for Sophie. So it'll be a true battle to see who can hold on to this last lap here.
Very aggressive in this lap. So we have a lap time for Maddie of 28.94 and for Sophie 28.72.
So it's going to be Maddie coming in on the inner lane, so she will have that advantage to be able to chase down Sophie. Sophie having to go a little further on this last corner.
She's looking very strong. She needs to keep that position coming out of the corner. Excellent.
Maddie finishing really well. Sophie pushing as well.
Oh,
Armband.
Armband fell out. All right. So let's see what time that was.
Oh, PBs for both girls. Well done.
All right. Definite high five from your coach for that one. Maddie Pierman got a 1:18.49, which is, that's a 0.8 PB.
I think both girls will be very happy with that race. They pushed each other very well. All right, now coming to the line, we have
another one of my teammates.
Yes, Carrie Morrison.
Carrie Morrison from Ontario. She's on the inner lane, and on the outer lane from USA, we have Jerica Tenneman.
Now, Carrie Morrison has just made the switch over from short track to long track this season. How is that an advantage or disadvantage?
Disadvantage. The starts are a little awkward. It's really hard to get used to that clap blade and the movement. She's transitioned very well. She's had a lot of success in short track with the Calgary Olympic short track program with Maggie as her coach. And she's still getting the timing down, but her strength and foundation and base from her short track training is going to carry through long track, most definitely. So we're going to see a little bit of a weird crossover here. But Carrie makes a smart move and tucks in behind and keeps going.
Well, Jerica's looking very strong in this race. Position seems nice as she comes to the bell lap. Oh, and we have another armband issue. It's now become an arm bracelet. Maybe she's just making a fashion statement on here.
And Carrie's holding onto her armband. So we have a first lap for Jerica of 28.16 and for Carrie 28.79. Let's see her attack this last corner.
Both girls really driving toward the end here. Coming to the line first, we have Jerica.
And Carrie with a 1:18.65. That's an excellent time for the slip that she had in her start. Great job, Carrie. And now we have on the inner lane another one of my teammates, Sarah Spence. Her two older sisters are also speed skating, Tori Spence and Josie Spence. And on the outer lane, we have from Japan, Yakuri Matsuzawa. Great start. Sarah also grew up doing short track and a bit of hockey as well, and I think that gives her a bit of edge on her start. Let's see her be aggressive in this lap. And the Japanese skater opens in 1893 and Sarah Spence in 1990. Yakuri having a great exit on this outer. Japanese are such smooth skaters. They have great sprinters, such great rhythm, very square. Sarah's having a great race as well. And for Sarah Spence, she has a lap time of 29.92. And for Yakuri, 29.02. Very strong finish for Yakuri with a time of 1:19.44. And for Sarah Spence, 1:22.19.
And here is the sister, Victoria Spence, on the inner lane. Also one of your training partners.
Yeah, Tori.
And from Japan on the outer, Yukari.
Hikari Arai. Tori skated PB in her 1,000 at the Grand Prix last weekend, so she had a great race, very small die, which is a definite advantage for a 3K, 5K skater like herself. See what she can do today.
Here we go, and ladies, both with strong openers. Victoria Spence opening 1959, Yukari opening in 1893. Let's see how they hold out this first lap.
Both skaters looking very smooth. Oh, she's holding on to that inner. Tori's coming out. This is where Tori's going to really show some strength on this last lap. So Yukari, 28.83. Victoria Spence, 29.73.
Be interesting to see if Yukari can hold that. She looks strong. She got both arms now driving. Tori looking very calm, very collected.
Very good to see that from Tori. So much power coming out of this corner. This is a great race. And Yukari finishes the line 1:18.69 and Tori 1:19.61. I believe that's a PB for Tori.
All right, we have two international skaters here.
And Saskia is from Estonia, and she has also been training in our group with Zuli Wang in the fall before leading up to the Calgary World Cup. And in the outer lane from Japan, we have Nakamura. Saskia also got a .6 PB in her 500 meter this morning, so she'll definitely be bringing that confidence into her race today, this afternoon.
Can't help but notice how low the Japanese skaters all tend to skate. Is that a common technical trait of theirs, or?
I think they have a huge emphasis on technique. I've watched a lot of their training, especially when their teams are here. They're always doing dry land before ice, and then they jump on ice. Sometimes if you're taller, it looks like you're not as low, but you could essentially have the same angles. Saskia is very tall. She's probably 5'11". I think her angles are pretty good right now. But if you're a Japanese skater, or if some of our national team athletes are a bit shorter, they can definitely use that advantage to get even lower to the ice and carry that speed.
Well, both skaters are looking really smooth here, coming through at the bell lap. 1 to go.
Nakamura has a lap time of 29.75, and Saskia 29.92.
Both very good lap times for these girls. We'll see how much they can hold on and not drop here. And they're coming through, fighting through that lactic, which is built up, making that last corner super difficult for these skaters. Coming very close to the line for these two ladies.
And the finishing time for Anna is 1:20.89, and for Saskia, 1:20.97.
Saskia really holding on to those lap times, a little bit slower in the opener there, but able to build up her speed and maintain it through the rest of that race.
And she gets a high five from Zuli and Anna as well. Great races. So here we have Gabrielle Sanson from Saskatchewan and Julia Roth from Alberta, both training with Crispin Parkinson and Arno Hoogveld.
Oh, and it looks like another scratch in the 1,000 meter today. Gabrielle won't be racing, so leaving Julia Roth to fight for her PB on her own. She seems to be going for it. A really aggressive start, really attacking this first inner or outer corner. Again, we're talking about that mental battle. Oh,
no.
Oh, wow.
She got up. What
that
a
is
catch.
Unbelievable.
And
you
she goes
wouldn't
right
even
back
notice.
into the crazy start. That is excellent. I love to see that. Most athletes would have stopped the race and gone back into the warm-up lane, not finishing the race, but she got up so fast.
And you can just bet she is going to get a huge cheer from the crowd as she comes through the front.
Let's just hear it. She is still open, 19.98, and she got up so fast.
She has got a lot of people here up and taking notice.
I love to see that.
Here she is. She's got both arms. It almost looked like she's smiling coming through this, giving
Probably
it quite
a little
the race.
grimace of pain. She has a 31.22. Probably lost a little bit of time on that fall, but she is still going.
Now, talk about a fighter here. She's got both arms going down. She's not giving up in this 1,000. She's got just over 200 meters to go.
Good for her. Let's see this fight. Oh, she might have a strip. Sometimes when you fall like that and get up, your nervous system is on fire and you're a little bit jumpy, but it's so great to see her come through.
This is quite a race for Julia. Wow.
All right, Julia.
Definitely getting a response from those watching out there today.
Getting applause from the crowd. You can get a little replay here, just coming out of the corner.
She has so much speed.
She caught, her knee.
How?
She definitely caught her left foot on her right ankle.
Now that is a sign of someone who is very just technically on point, being able to get up and return to a race like that. Not just skating, but mentally as well. Good for her.
We have Nile from Norway, and on the outer lane from Mongolia, we have Dylan Bayar. Dylan Bayar has been training in Calgary for almost 4 months now.
Here they are coming to this first corner, opening up, looking quite strong. And coming to the lap time, seeing what their openers are. And good openers for these On the inner, Neely in 1939.
For Dallin Bayard, 2023. Neely looking really strong here. Holding her left arm a bit. See how they hold on to this last lap. Neely, 29.72. And Dallin Bayard, 30.39.
And Dallin Bayard closing that gap. She will have to go on the outer, but it looks like she's gaining some momentum here. Able to keep that speed up. We'll see how they do coming out of this last corner.
Really fighting on this last corner.
You can just see the
Difference between the sprinters and the all-rounds. We're really able to push through there. Okay, and for Neely, 1:22.46 takes the race, and for Dallin Bayard, 1:22.58. And we have a scratch in this race. Jenny from Finland scratched 1,000, so on the outer lane, we have Saint-Jean. I think this is a younger sister of Alexandre Saint-Jean, who is a 500-meter and 1,000-meter skater for Team Canada and was at the World Sprint Championships in Seoul. And she opens in a 1975.
Again, here she is coming around for the bell lap with 1 to go.
Good opener for her. Let's see how she settles in and continues to push through this last lap. First lap, 30.67. Let's go Saint-Jean.
So again, this back straight, you can really see a difference between some of the athletes. Key being able to hold on to your technique as that lactic burn starts to build, and then really still create that momentum through this last corner. She's got both arms swinging, really going for it in this race. Coming out looking quite strong on the final 50 meters, going toward the line.
Final time of 1:23.48 for Florence Saint-Jean.
All right, we've got 2 skaters back again in this race.
On the inner lane, we have Caitlin McDonald, and on the outer lane, we have Yui Fujimori.
Both of these girls very close to PBs, 122.9 and 122.91. So that will be the time they're chasing down today. Both girls having nice aggressive openers coming through this first corner.
Japanese skaters always have the best racing suits. I love the colors. Oftentimes they'll send their high school teams to Calgary to train during the summertime, and that just really shows the depth of skaters that they have in Japan in the sport.
Well, it's always fun to have a competition like this where there's so many international athletes competing, to see the depth of the sport from across the country, and also give experience to athletes here racing against those as they climb their way up.
Okay, let's go, girls. Let's see how their first lap was. For you, we have 30.48, and for McDonald, 31.77.
Caitlin McDonald, also coming from a family of speed skaters. Her sister Jamie this year debuted in the World Cup and came home with a few medals.
Yeah, she is part of the short track Olympic oval program here in Calgary, and she has had so much success this year, which is very exciting for our community in Calgary.
And here come the girls finishing off this race. And that is a PB for
All right,
Yui for
girls.
122. Caitlin Deshort, 125.25.
And our next pair, we have another skater from Mongolia. We have Carolina Hiller on the inside from BC and Altan Akrazul from Mongolia.
Alton's been skating and training here at the Olympic Oval in Calgary for the year. True athlete showing dedication, all by herself from Mongolia. Here to train and hopefully represent her country.
She is a fierce skater, and she has so much fire. I know that's going to drive her to the next level, and we're going to see a lot of improvements. You can see her coach on the mats there cheering her on.
Both girls opening well, quite close coming to the line, almost stride and stride. Turning into a little bit of synchro skating
and
here.
Zul takes this in 1924, and Carolina in 1936.
It's always exciting when pairs are matched so equally like this. They're able to drive each other, hopefully push each other to gain some of those PBs. Here they are coming into the last corner of the first lap. Zul holding on really well, looking good. Hiller driving both arms now. 1 lap to go. Lap times,
Zul
30.
hits a 29.90, and Carolina 30.34.
Now, if Zul and Carolina, if they can hold these lap times, they're going to have some really great race results here. Here she is, you can see, she's really going for it.
Bringing down both the arms, going into the last corner. You need all the momentum you can to really keep your legs moving around that last outer.
And here they are. This is going to be a close race for these girls. The lactic really building up, driving again, almost in sync.
Oh, and a slip from Zul. Very good races,
Wow.
though.
And those are PBs for both girls. But you can see just how important. One little slip. And, I mean, we're talking tenths of a second here. And that can be the difference between a PB or not, or qualifying or not.
And now we have Lindsay Kent from Manitoba and Adeline Monder on the outer lane from Alberta. Adeline is also part of the junior national program for triathlon and has had a lot of success with that. And she definitely can carry that into her longer distances in speed skating.
Today, though, she's going to need to channel her inner sprinter and drive through that lactic capacity here.
The inner sprinter.
Yes. As a distance skater,
We all
have been there.
We all vie to find our inner sprinter. Excellent opener for Lindsay Kent, 20.07. For Adeline Monder, 20.57.
We'll see Adeline's got both arms swinging here, really going for it. Lindsay Kent, still one arm on the back.
Lindsay Kent's looking pretty square. That's great. She doesn't have a lot of movement in her upper body, which is definitely a good thing. This is where Adeline's really going to bring it on coming out of this corner.
Both girls' lap times very close. Both arrows now. This is going to be a good fight to the end. Kent looking really strong as she gets the little advantage on the inner. Adeline going to really have to push through this second order. And a great race by both ladies.
And a 1:22.32 for Lindsay Kent and a 1:23.60 for Adeline Monder.
And those are both PBs for both girls. So a great race by both. All right, we have Danielle Wallish on the inner from Alberta and Julie Bouchard-Doyon from Quebec on the outer. And both ladies are off to a good start here. Coming to the first corner. And we'll see how their openers are as they come across the line. All right, and with Danielle opening 2072 and Julie opening in 2033. And now the race begins. Who can hold on to these 2 full laps? Both girls skating really well. Seem to be holding their technique entering this corner. And here they are, rounding out. Pretty close, pretty even. Will be a nice battle for this final lap of this 1,000-meter race. Danielle Walsh, lap time 31:13, and Julie right behind her with 31:64. All right, here they go, coming down the back straight. And it looks like... And good races here. Danielle Walsh finishing in strong time, 1:23.96. And Julie finishing 1:26.18. All right, and we have 2 skaters from Quebec. We've got Gringus Carolina. Caroline Gingras, and we have Annabelle Debriel on the outer here, both ladies from Quebec. And here we go, this 1,000-meter race, 2.5 full laps opening here, first 200 meters. Both ladies very close. Jabrai opens in a time of 20:18. And Gringus opening 19:93. And here they are, driving down the back straightaway, entering the corners. You know, and in this race, sometimes you will see the crossovers on the back straight can get a little bit hairy. It's important that the outer skater has the right of way. Since they have traveled a little bit further, they technically are moving faster. So sometimes you will notice if they're coming out at the same time, it can get a little complicated. So far today, exchanges have all been pretty clean.
It's very important going into the corner that you're aware of where your pair is so that you can make the changes during the corner so that you come out of the corner in the proper space so that you do not have to slow down.
Also, too, you will notice in the thousands and as you get into the longer distances that drafting on that back straight can be quite important. We have some good times here. We have Caroline 1:24.45 and Annabelle finishing 1:25.22. Good races by both girls. Yuno Morizumi on the inner from Japan and Lawrence Paquette on the outer from Quebec. All right, and we have Lauren signing off here. Thank you so much, Lauren, for some great commentating.
Yeah, so great commenting with you, Hamish. And I'm going to turn it over to Alec in just a bit. Alec Jansen is a national team skater who specializes in the 1,500 meter and the 5K. He is recovering from an injury like myself. He has had a concussion since the fall. And so he will be helping with the announcing as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have a great day, Hamish.
Speaking of great day, these girls are having good races right now. Yuno opening 19:32 and Lawrence opening just 20. All right, and here they go, coming around the corner, getting ready to hear that bell, signaling that there's 1 lap left in this 1,000-meter race. And there it is. Also likely signifying a little bit of lactic buildup in their legs. But both girls with some nice lap times. Yuno with the 20:35 and Lawrence with the 31:80. And we'll see how much they can hold on to those lap times. We've, driving both arms, looking really strong as she goes into this last inner. And again, as Lauren was saying, the Japanese bringing some fantastic skin suits to this competition. And a great race for, finishing in 1:21.87. That is a huge PB for her, over 2 seconds. All right, and in the next race on the inner from Japan, on the inner from Quebec, we have Gabrielle Gilnick, and on the outer, Brooklyn McDonald. Brooklyn McDougall. All right, and here we go. This 200-meter opener for these two ladies, looking really close. Gabrielle opening 25:35, and Brooklyn opening in 20:48. That's a great opener for her. Let's hope they continue to build some speed as they come around this first full lap. Here they are coming to the bell. And their lap time with 1 lap to go. Gabrielle 31:61 and Brooklyn right behind 32:58. Let's see how hard these ladies work to hold on to those lap times. And Gabrielle really going for it. Leaning a little bit forward, but still pushing out. Brooklyn feeling a little bit of the lactic. Here they go on the last corner. Gabrielle really pulling away here, driving to that line. And finishing time 1:24.94. And Brooklyn crossing 1:28.82. All right, we have another international match here. On the inner, we've got Ida Sanderud from Norway. And on the outer, from our cousins down under, Krista Miller from the USA. Both these ladies having PB times of 1:25, 45, and 46, respectively. All right, and we have the opening corner here for these two ladies, looking strong. All right, and they're crossing the line. Ooh, very close. 21:03 for Ida, and Krissa, 21:35. And Ida looking really strong as she goes into this outer corner, holding technique quite well. Krista also doing a great job holding onto that inner. They hear the bell signaling 1 lap. At 31:53 for Ida and a 31:99 for Krista. Let's see how these ladies hold on to those lap times. Both looking quite strong, still got good power in their stride. Driving toward their last corner of the race. And looks like Ida's coming out just a little bit ahead, but Krista's still driving. And a good race by both girls. 1:26.18 for Ida and a 1:26.61 for Krista. All right, we have
Hey there, Hamish.
Welcome aboard, Alec. Great to have you here.
Good
Just in time for Taylor White and Katja Lutz to race here in this 1,000-meter ladies event.
Man, oh man, am I excited to announce some of these races with you, Hamish. Once again, it's Alec Janssens here, member of the national team for speed skating. Currently out with a bit of an injury, but I am more than happy to help announce and spread the good word of the speed skating out in the world today over YouTube.
It will be great to get some of your expertise to help those at home who might not be as familiar with the sport. We're opening here with the 1,000-meter, 200-meter split times. And it looks like this is a great race by these ladies. Taylor opening in 1971 and Katja opening in 20.83.
Here you got Taylor White of Ontario, who's actually a current member of the University of Calgary Dinos basketball team as well. So she's doing a bit of both and going to school. Busy bee here at the Oval on the court, and let's see if she can rip out a good 1,000 today.
She's definitely got some competition from the Swiss skater here. You can see her first opening lap time
Of 30.79 was her first lap time, followed by Lutz with the 31.5.
We'll see how they hold on to this here. Both girls looking like they're a little fatigued, but still driving through that lactic pain I'm sure they're feeling. And here they come, final 50-meter stretch.
And there she is, crossing in the time of 1:23.10, followed by the Swiss skater with the 1:25.79. Are those how are those times for them?
That
today?
is a big PB for Taylor White.
Oh,
Previously skating
boy.
a 1:25.53, so she really went for it today.
There we go.
All right, we have Pauline Sutherland on the inner. She's skating from BC here, and Olivia Moy is skating from Saskatchewan. And they are off. On the inner, we have some really quick feet going into this inner corner. Let's see how that transfers over.
Pauline coming out of that first corner with a slight upper hand, followed closely by Olivia Moyes from Saskatchewan with an opener of 20.68. She takes the opener, and 21.0 from Olivia Moyes.
Pauline looking really smooth on that back straight as she enters into the outer corner. Driving around and she comes to that bell lap. 1 lap to go. Still quite a close. Pauline, 32.53 lap and 33 even for Olivia. Well,
The 1,000-meter being a very difficult distance, being just an all-out gunslinging sprint. A little too long to not feel any dive, but you just keep on holding on, especially around this very last corner. Trying to hold this last inner with all this lactic acid in you, it'll get you every single time. Both skaters coming up to the finish line right now.
super close race here.
Looks like Pauline will
Ooh.
take it by the hair of her chinny chin chin in a time of 1:27.55, followed by Olivia Moyes in a time of 1:27.70.
So this is our 25th pair of women's 1,000-meter races today. We've got Jill Yoon on the inner, skating for Alberta, against someone from the Netherlands, Canada's speed skating rivals. And that's Anne-Marie Vanderwall. And we have another armband slip. That is the third one of the day. Speed skaters are
man.
not known for having the biggest upper body muscles, so these armbands might need to be brought in a size or two. Jill opening in a really decent time, 20:29, and Anne-Marie falling right behind, 21:26. Anne-Marie actually has moved and trains here in Calgary with the Olympic Oval program. And these girls are looking quite good. Jill holding on to some nice technique as she goes into her second last corner of the race. Lap time for her, 32:27, and just behind 33:08 for Anne-Marie. Recovering from a nice little slip that I don't think you guys saw on the screen here.
Anne-Marie having a very aggressive last back straightaway here. Let's see if she can catch her Albertan counterpart, Jill.
And Jill fighting off as Anne-Marie drives to the line as well. Finishing in a good time, 127.95 for Jill, and Anne-Marie, 128.91. You can just see after the races the pure exhaustion and pain that they are feeling after this brutal 1,000-meter. Often gliding around a full lap, hands on their knees as they try to regain some composure.
Next up, we have two Ontario skaters, and I also believe that they are actually two Ottawa skaters. So it's always fun to be skating against somebody else that you train with every single day. On the inner, Marianne Portalance, and on the outer, Jesslyn Chantler.
These ladies are off to a good start in their 1,000-meter race. They're opening 200 meters.
Jocelyn, originally from Ottawa, now trains here in Calgary at the Olympic Oval under Jeff Kuchera.
Both ladies skating pretty much in stride, entering the final corner of their first full lap. And here is the bell. The amount of pain that these girls must be feeling at this point must be quite intense, is it not?
Almost as intense as what they're going to be feeling in 200 meters here.
Oh, and coming around the corner, looking quite strong, fighting off that pain quite well. Here she is, driving last 50 meters. And Marianne finishing 129.25, and Jesslyn in 128.12.
Both girls slightly off their PBs.
But good races nonetheless.
There you go. Seems to be some tough conditions out there today. Not too many PBs, but when they do come, they're quite nice. Up next, we're on the inner lane. We have Michelle Danick paired with Tess Pierman on the outer lane from Alberta.
And we saw Tess's older sister, Maddie, skate earlier today. We'll see what younger sister can do. You also notice that on the ice coaching is the Pierman's mom. And these ladies opening up. Great 200-meter start to this 1,000-meter race. Tess with a great time, 20.17. And Michelle, 22.26. And now the fight begins. So what do you think? What are these skaters thinking as they're entering into their first lap?
Really, 1,000 is just an all-out, guns-out sprint. So they're really just trying to get their speed up and try and maintain it for as long as possible. Once they get their speed up, then the pain starts to sink in, and it's just really trying to focus on execution over the pain. So here they're really trying to focus on holding on to really good technique and trying to carry their speed through all of the 1,000 meters.
So you'll see that was a 32 for Tess. She's going to try to hold on to that time and finish as close to a 32 as she can.
most skaters will have between the first and the second lap of about a second and a half to 2 seconds difference between both laps. So in speed skating we call that a die. So hopefully you want to keep that lap time difference under a second and a half, but a die is pretty much unavoidable.
All right, Tess finishing 128.44. And Michelle's coming across the line.
In a time of 1:34.23.
And these ladies are off, chasing down their PB times here in the 1,000 meter race at the Olympic Oval finale, the final race of this 2015-16 season. So what does this race mean for a lot of skaters coming into this weekend?
Really, a finale is all about a culmination of hard work throughout the season. Usually there's some really good fast ice here during finale. You can be expecting quite a few PBs from a lot of skaters. It's also a really, really large competition as far as numbers go. You have skaters not only from Alberta here, but Western Canada, out east, and also internationally. You have some really good talent also on the international level that come out here. Just to cap off the season, get some good times, and see if they can take advantage of some good fast ice here in Calgary.
Well, Samantha and Alexa are having a good race here. Alexa opening her first lap 31.32, and Samara at 34.17. Let's see if they can keep, as you said, that die as low as possible.
Both these skaters are younger and coming out here mostly just to gain experience, really trying to get some good times and see what it's like to be skating against some other skaters from other provinces, and see what it is like to see some of the more experienced skaters in close, in person, and skate some of their best times.
That's a good time for Alexa, 124.81. So that is a huge PB for Alexa, 4 seconds.
4 seconds. You can see Coach Tyler Dura on the backstretch, pretty pleased with that performance. Coach Tyler Dura just moved back to Manitoba and is taking over quite the lead coach position in the Manitoba Skating Association. And they're off for the next pair here, pair 29. And on the inner lane, we have McDougall from Alberta and also Connie Kapak, also from Alberta. Nice first quarter from both these girls. Coming up here with openers very close to each other, 20.82 for Kapak and 20.99 for McDougall. Both girls looking almost in sync and matched up in matching Alberta skin suits. It's almost hard to differentiate between the two of them. And so far as Connie taking the lead in the race, with a lap time of 33.62, followed quickly by McDougall with a lap time of 34.52. Down this last stretch, Connie with an aggressive two-arm, looking really fresh still somehow. She's really building this last bit of the race here. Drifting a little wide from those pucks. You want to be right on those pucks, but man, is she looking strong in this last lap. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a PB on this one. And a final time of 129.81. Hamish, do we have a PB on this one?
We do.
Oh.
She beat it by less than a tenth. 129.88 was her previous time. So, I mean, every second counts. Well done.
Sometimes you can just tell when you're on a skater's on a good one. In our next race, skater from India, I assume she also came over from Inline before.
She did. Shruti Cotwell, who's training on under Abby.
Abigail Ennis.
And then on the outer, we have Jasmine Chase from Ontario.
Abigail, here coaching at the Olympic Oval, has a group of quite a few international skaters, most of them coming over from Inline. A Spanish skater from Spain, also an
Thank you for
inliner.
clarifying that for us.
Well, there's a bit of a difference between coming from Spain and speaking Spanish, Hamish.
That's very true.
Inliners known for their quick turnover. You'll be able to see this on this straightaway here. Quick turnover and early pressure is what they're known for. We've had quite a few inliners be able to make the crossover from inline to long track and short track, being able to make some significant bounds in the speed skating world.
And here they are coming to the bell lap. 1 to go. Shruti in the lead right now. Lap time 32.80. And Jasmine 34.56.
Jasmine looking like she's keeping some good tempo down that straightaway there. Both skaters keeping real nice and low.
Looks like Shruti's feeling a little bit of that fatigue, but still pushing through this last corner.
Shruti almost losing it in that entry there.
No doubt one of the hardest things is to maintain your technique as you're fighting against that lactic pain from the buildup. And a 130.27 for Shruti and a 132.84 for Jasmine.
Next up, we have Anna Bourgeois from Alberta on the inner lane with Sierra Johnson on the outer lane. And we do not currently have a time for Anna Bourgeois. This could be a crossover from short track. Both skaters looking like they're keeping up some good tempo down these back stretches. Anna Bourgeois looks to be like in the lead. Looking like she could stick a little bit closer to these cones, but still maintaining pretty good technique. Quickly looking over her shoulder to make sure that the skater on the inside was not in her way. A lot of times there will be a crossover issue down that back stretch. When you have two skaters coming out of that corner at the same time, it's the skater on the outer lane that has the right of way. Since they are technically going faster at that point in the race, they should be ahead. They should be behind. But if they are coming out at the same time, it's always the skater on the outside that has the right of way. And Anna Bourgeois will finish in a time of 1:29.36, and Sierra Johnson with a time of 1:32.76. Pair 32 of 38 features Sylvie Carruthers, little sister of big brother Dan Carruthers, Dan the Man Carruthers.
You might actually see him running on the track because he's warming up for his 1,000-meter race following the ladies. Hopefully he's out there cheering on, supporting his sister. And another amazing speed skating outfit from Japanese skater Yuka.
Yuka Takahashi. We do not currently have a seed time for her, so a little bit of a dark horse out here today.
And they are off. All right, here we go.
Sylvie Carruthers also an avid cross-country runner. Let's see if she can translate that long-distance running stride into a quick 1,000-meter speed skating stride. Oh, and there's Dan right there in the corner, cheering and looking after that little sister.
Multitasking as he warms up and cheers on Sylvie.
Yuka Takahashi with a blazing fast opener. No seat time for her. Must have taken many people off guard on this one.
And she seems to be really going for it. But this can maybe work in Sylvie's advantage, something to chase down, right?
Yeah. It all depends on how you approach it mentally. It's either demoralizing or the ability to chase somebody, to push yourself is something that that's very important in speed skating too.
Well, Yuka opening first lap time 31.12, which is quite fast, as they're sitting up in 30th. Sylvie opening a great lap time for her, 34.12, and we'll see now how much they can push. She is really driving as she comes around this corner. And here she comes. Driving through with a fantastic race.
Final time of 1:24.15.
And here comes Sylvie, pushing through to the very end of the race here with this nice finish. 1:32.33 for her. I'm sure brother Dan will be more than excited. All right, 2 Albertan skaters. Oh, wait, no, we don't. That does not look like an Alberta suit.
Here we have Sylvie Lloyd on the inner from BC and Shoko Tanaka from Japan on the outer.
Nope, but they've been called off right now. That
So
must play a little bit of a mental game, does it not?
It does, because it really doesn't matter who makes the first false start. It's who makes the second false start that actually gets kicked out of the race. They get disqualified. So whoever does the first false start,
Kind of get a free pass?
they get a free pass.
Now, do you ever see that as you go up into high level where someone will ever purposely false start as maybe to hopefully not get called and have that edge?
Oftentimes you don't see it, but it's speed skating is more of an individual sport, so you want to make sure that you can take care of yourself and going into the race with your own personal mind game set before you start tampering with the other person's mind game. It's also just a gentlemanly thing to do is to make sure not to mess with anybody else and just to make sure that that's the fastest skater that wins fair and square.
Nice. And it looks like it wasn't called off for a skater error here. Just updating some technical issues with the clocks on the ice, making sure everything's ready to go. It's important we have the systems up and running. You don't want to skate a PB and not have that.
But just in case that the timing system does fail, we actually have 3 timing systems out there. We have a laser down at the line that actually finishes once the skater crosses it. And then we have photo finish. So we have an actual high-speed camera that will take the time of the finishers crossing the line. And then we also have volunteers running manual times upstairs just to make sure that every single skater gets a time and that that nobody will be putting any wasted effort out on the ice there.
It looks like we are getting ready to roll again. Skaters have stepped up to the line, been called. And again, on the inner from BC, we have Sylvie Lloyd. And on the outer from Japan, Shoko Tanaka. And they are off. All right, and here they are off, opening here in the first 200 meters, and we'll see what their times are. And good opening times for both skaters. Very, very close race. Sylvie Lloyd, 21.19, and Shoko Tanaka, 21.17. We'll see who can carry or build their speed and maybe drop someone on this first opening lap. And it looks like the skater from Japan really driving, taking this inner corner really aggressively. She comes out quite strong toward the final bell.
Whenever you get paired with an international skater here in Calgary, it's always a little frightening when you look at their PBs because they often don't get the chance to skate on fast ice. So they never really get a fast ice PB, whereas everybody in Calgary usually has what we consider to be a fast ice PB. So when you're matched up with somebody with the same personal best time out there, you can almost count on them being able to skate a faster time than they are actually seated in the competition with.
And what is it? Can you explain to maybe those watching that don't understand the difference between an ice time and what makes Calgary so fast?
The main reason why, there's two main reasons why the Calgary ice surface is so fast. First of all, it's the altitude. The Calgary Oval is situated at 1,100 meters above sea level, which makes for thinner air, which in high-speed sport, just like speed skating, where aerodynamics play a very integral role in your speed, you'll be able to go faster just because the air is thinner. The second reason why the ice is so fast is we have an amazing ice tech crew that takes very much pride in the making of the ice, making sure that the ice is at the best temperature possible and that the humidity in the building is perfect and also that the air temperature is good. There's a lot that goes into ice and fast ice. With the controlling of the refrigeration system and the air temperature within the building.
Well, hoping to take advantage of these fast ice conditions are two Albertan skaters. We have Anja Sporsen from Alberta and Emma Steven.
Emma Stevens going out there with no hood. Must be a short track suit. A lot of skaters coming over for the short track to the long track, myself being one of them. Hamish, did you start off in short track too?
That is where I got my introduction. I did a little bit of short track before making the crossover.
Short track is a fun and exciting race. You can actually see short track speed skating just on the inside of the Olympic Oval today. You'll see it in some of the shots here.
You'll notice one thing that short trackers definitely have an advantage of and can take into a long track is their really strong corners. However, those straightaways, typically in a short track race, you really only do 2 side pushes, whereas here you're doing 8 to 10 strides per straightaway. So taking advantage of your strength and hoping to improve on those straightaways. But these girls having a great race so far.
Yeah, especially when you start going real fast on short track, the straightaway strides really get smaller and smaller, and it's the corners that really start to take in full effect on the short track. They're almost doing full circles out there in short track, not very much straightaway strides.
These girls are coming really strong onto their last corner here as they finish up this 1,000-meter race. Coming to the line. Finishing first, it's Anja in 129.34 and Emma 133.11.
Emma with a huge over 2-second PB today. It's not a bad day whenever you PB by 2 seconds.
I guess you were right. The ice is fast here in Calgary. All right, we only have 4 more pairs left in the ladies' 1,000-meter race at Oval Finale here. And right now in pair 35, we have Amanda Mitchell, Sabrina, and a false start. And as you were saying, 1 freebie. Now the second person to false start will be disqualified from the race.
As you can see, the skater on the outside, Sabrina Levesque, is wearing a buff over top of her mouth. Now, Hamish, that same fast ice, that air, that dry Calgary air that makes for fast times also can wreak havoc on the lungs. And for a lot of skaters back east who are used to training in cold, damp, outdoor ice surfaces like they do in Quebec City, they're not used to the dry Calgary air. So that's why you'll see some of the long trackers and some of the short trackers actually wearing protective face coverings just to make sure that their lungs are getting enough moisture and that they're not getting damaged from the harsh, dry Calgary air.
Well, and here they are, and looking pretty much toe and toe. It's opening 22:12 for Amanda and 21:78 for Sabrina. And again, now up to 400 or 800 meters for these ladies to really just empty the tank and give it all that they've got. Now again, for those of you just maybe tuning in just now, this is 1,000 meters for the ladies, so it's 2.5 laps of the rink. You'll see they just crossed what will be their finish line in 400 meters, which is positioned halfway through the 100-meter front stretch, as opposed to in every other race in speed skating at the end of the 100-meter, much like a running track and field. These ladies are coming down the back stretch. One of the most difficult parts of this race as they enter their last corner. The lactic buildup in the legs is at its maximum peak right now, and they're just fighting through that pain, trying to hold their technique and get to that line.
And that will be Sabrina Lévesque crossing the line in his final time of 1:31.82.
And that is a huge PB for her.
Holy moly. Close personal best, 7 seconds, 1:31. Her previous time was 1:38.
A 7-second PB in a 1,000-meter race is a lot of time here, so she will be quite happy with that.
We're coming down pair 36 of 38. Close to the end of a pairs.
We got two Manitoba skaters rocking some nice black, white, and yellow suits here. You can see in the background their coach Tyler, as you mentioned earlier, previous national team skater turned this year coach. That must be great for those Manitoba skaters to have someone with that much experience coming to join them on their team.
It really is, especially with Tyler coming off a pretty good season last year. Chose to hang up the skates after a pretty good career, and with his wife, just had a baby not too long ago.
Oh, wow. And also, speed skating is a family affair. Tyler's brother, Reese, is the national team member skate tech, traveling around and making sure that all the national team skaters' skates and equipment are better than perfect for when they go into those World Cup and championship races.
Yeah, he puts the last spit shine on my blades. I trust him with them. Oh, and it looks like we have a false start in this race. Oh, a faulty gun.
And a false start from the gunner. That is his first warning.
Yeah.
Second one, and he will be replaced. Again, this is where that mental preparation and being able to really focus in comes key. You don't want something like this to be a distraction for you and kind of let you get off your game. So see these girls kind of step back, reset, and get ready to go. Looking to their coach, Tyler.
We actually had a flash and no sound. So if you come down and see a live race or get a shot with the starter in, if we are able to get a shot with the starter in the stream, you'll see that the gun is actually not a real gun. It's an electronic gun, thankfully. And it's got a light beam at the end of it, and then also it's hooked up to a speaker that makes the bang sound. So on that last one, the light went off, the sound did not go off. So as soon as the starter pulls the trigger of the electronic gun, the light and the sound go off simultaneously, triggering the timing system. And then that signals the beginning of the race and the beginning of lots of fun.
So they're just going through right now, testing the gun, making sure that everything is up to running. One thing to kind of go over, I guess, is the importance of the start, especially in these sprint distances. How crucial is it, would you say, Alec, to have a good start in this 1,000-meter race?
In the 500, it's absolutely paramount. But the 1,000-meter is a little different because if you can kind of get away with a slower start, as long as your laps are very fast and very consistent, You have internationally, some of the smaller skaters are renowned for explosive starts and huge dives, where some of the longer, bigger skaters might have a little bit of a slower start, but they can maintain that top speed for much longer, carrying that momentum to the first and second lap and across that finish line.
So it really comes down to you as a skater and utilizing what technique works best for you.
At the end of the day, it's who's the fastest skater over the first full 1,000 meters
Right.
of the whole race, not just the opener. The opener will break you, but it won't make you.
Well, let's see how these girls do. They look like they've opened quite well. A 21.01 for Emma, and Mary following 22.05. Now the race goes on. Who can build, who can hold, and who can finish first?
Very well put there, Hamish.
And again, we have another two skaters, teammates, getting to compete against each other, which is quite fun.
Wearing those black and yellow speed suits. Coming across the first line with the lap time of 33.52 is Emma, followed by her Manitoba teammate in a time of 34.66.
Well, and they look like they're skating quite well. Both of them driving down the back straight as they come around their last corner of this first lap. Soon to be only 500 meters left in this race. And I was wrong, that was their last 200 meters, and finishing quite well for both of them. Emma, 132 flat, and Mary with a 133.80.
Oh, she looks like she is in pain, with some painful face coming around that finish line. I hope she's all right.
I think
Was
that
it at
is-
least a PB for her, though? I hope so. I cannot find her seat time here. Tyler Duro will be checking up on her.
And I've seen the wave here indicating that they're ready to go. Skaters have been called to the line. We're getting near the end of our skaters here. We've got two more pairs. All right. So Roseanne from Quebec skating against Hannah McDougall from Ontario on the outer. And while we're racing, a little plug there for photography, taking pictures of these great skaters. All right, we have our first times posted here for these skaters. 21.44 for Roseanne, 23.17 for Hannah. Now here they go.
Roseanne looking really strong around these corners here.
Seems to be holding technique quite well,
Yeah.
putting pressure into the ice where it needs to be, and driving down this line.
I kind of see her peeking up at that lap board,
Yeah.
though. Never a good habit to have is peeking at your lap times before you actually cross the line. You want to be absolutely focused on the task at hand, not so much on the time. Focus on the time after you cross the line. But here she comes down that backstretch.
Hopefully she's happy with 33. She really seems to be driving in here.
She's looking much faster than her seed time here of 136.61.
We'll see how she holds through as she comes through. Both
Oh
arms
boy,
now.
it looks like she's going to be on a huge PB here.
Wow.
130.4. That's a 3.5 second personal best for her.
And Hannah coming down the line as well. Finishing up.
Van Koos Roseanne.
And here we go. This will be the final race for the ladies 1,000 meter.
Last but not least,
Well said. Ashley Hannah from Manitoba on the inner, and Sue Steckel from Alberta on the outer.
there we go. Let's finish this women's 1,000 meters off with a bang here.
Exciting to note, Sue Steckel earned her spot getting into this in Grand Prix last year and won free entry. So hopefully she has a really great weekend.
Oh man, that's always a little cherry on top when you don't have to pay for the entry. Might have to talk to Greg Planner and get me some free entries too, but well deserved from Sue Steckel.
And here come these ladies in their 200-meter opening times. Ashley, nice opening, 22.15.
Sue Steckel with a lap time of 24.67. Now you can see something that's really good to watch for in speed skating in general for good technique is how quiet the shoulders are here. Hannah from Manitoba, very quiet shoulders, great movement from side to side here.
That guy looks like me.
And she's got the times to show for her good technique here. With the 34.8 second lap.
And Sue coming through, 38.76 with 1 lap to go. Our final pair here in the 1,000 meters, both ladies driving, finishing through, trying to ignore that pain in their legs and get some nice times.
And Hannah McDoodle coming up, Ashley Hannah, sorry, finishing in a time of 1:32.77, a huge, not 1, not 2, but 12 second personal best. It's huge. I don't know how many people can do that. And then Sue Steckel crossing the line and finishing up our women's thousands for the day with a time of 1:45.7 seconds.
Well, that was quite an exciting and great 1,000 meters event here at the 2016 Olympic Oval Finale and Canada Cup long track speed skating competition. We are now going to be flooding and cleaning the ice, and we will be returning again with the exciting event also in the men's 1,000 meter. There's going to be 2 heats for that. Top seeded pairs will be going first, and then we'll be following through for the rest of the evening. The restart for the men's 1,000 meter will be at 3 o'clock, and we hope you guys have enjoyed the race, and will be joining us here on the live stream on YouTube.
We will be right back at 3 p.m. for the start of the men's 1,000 meter race. See you soon.